Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank you all for coming out today. In just a few moments, we have two special guests. We have Ted Jameson and Bruce Bauer. Ted, who was the first African-American baseball player to ever attend Lipscomb University, and Bruce, who was the first African-American basketball player to attend Lipscomb University. So if you don't mind, please join me in welcoming Bruce Bowers and Ted Jameson to the stage.
Well, we just want to. Y'all can hear me, right? Hello? Okay. We just want to say thank you so much for, us, it's a blessing to be able to lead you guys here in this conversation today. And the rest of our campus has been blessed by your presence here. And for those of you who don't know, Ted and Bruce have been here after chapel for 2 hours the past couple of weeks, just offering support and mentorship to our students, myself included. And today we as a campus are gathered here today to hear a little bit more of their story.
So, Bruce, Ted, before we get started, take us back. Tell us what Lipscomb University was like when the both of you first arrived in 1968.
Well, in 1968, Lipscomb was a different kind of university. If you recall, in 1968, especially around April 4, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated, killed in Memphis. And a lot of the campuses, the colleges, the universities were going through a lot of transition. And that was true for Lipscomb University also. The atmosphere at Lipscomb was different. From high school to a college setting, the transition was something that I had never experienced before. Christian education, outstanding. An education itself, outstanding. The people, outstanding. It was a different kind of experience and exposure for me. And I've been blessed being granted that opportunity to come to Lipscomb. Back then, it was called David Lipscomb College. Now, all of you young folk don't know that, but I'm very pleased now that it's Lipscomb University, because that's a sign that this place has really grown. And I think that's outstanding. That's outstanding.
Same question?
Yes, sir.
I guess let me come at it a little bit different. Let me tell you what it was not. I played baseball, and we played on Oniondale, and it truly was an onion compared to what we play on now. So we also had no fences. The only fence we had was the right field fence, was actually the tennis courts. So we had no weight room, no trainer. I'm just comparing it to the way it is now. We had, I saw no one that looked like me in terms of professors, deans, or in the executive leadership team. We had about 1% diversity. As I recall, it may have been 15 to 20, and half of them lived off campus, so we didn't really see too many people that looked like us either. It was basically the athletes and a few other people. And there was, me being a math major and like to analyze things, there was no website and no cell phones. But I did get a quality education and learn a lot from being around people that didn't look like me, because I went to an all-black school. And so coming here was a transition. But other than that, man, it was perfect.
Thank you.
So we did a little digging, but clearly you guys have changed from now till 1972.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we pulled up some pictures from the archives, and if you don't mind, we wanted to show everybody. It's up on the screen, I think.
Nice to see this.
Yes, you guys right now, the LU Bison.
Why didn't you find a slim version of me?
And then look at that. There's Bruce right here.
No, it's,
Ted.
yeah.
I can't see
Interesting.
him right here. You don't have a helmet on, Ted. Did you run without a helmet?
No, if I was going to first base, I
Yeah.
was so fast it fell off.
And then there's Bruce with the LU Bison.
That's definitely the slim version. Check out the sideburns.
So nothing much has changed, right? I mean, your friendship is still the same.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah? So what is that like? Tell us, what is it like to maintain 45 years of 45 plus, right? 45 years of friendship.
Yeah, 45 plus. Yeah.
45 plus years of friendship with Ted Jameson. Well, let me go back just a little bit and share with you what my father said to me many, many years ago. He's passed, he's dead and gone, but he instilled in me a statement that I truly believe in to this day, and that is, you are only as good as your word. Now, that may sound somewhat archaic to maybe some of you out there now, but with Ted Jameson, if Ted gives you his word that he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Now, you may not like what he does, but he will do it, and he will keep his word, and he will stay with it until he gets the job done. Ted's a competitor, and I'm a competitor. We do not like to lose. Although I won't hold anything against him because he's left-handed, he is truly a good person, a friend, and the relationship has been outstanding. And we've been apart for a while, but yet we seem to always get together, and we have bonded, and we have a friendship. And I start looking at the basketball team over there. I see Coach Casey and all of those guys over there, and all of you out there, that you have roommates and friends that you will develop a friendship with, and hopefully you can have a 45 plus year friendship.
That's real good. No, I have reflected back, and I would tell my daughter that it has turned out for me that my best friends and lifelong friends have been people that I met while I was in undergraduate. I thought it would be high school, but I found this really, the 4 or 5 real close friends I have, I all met them, except for one. I actually met them here at Lipscomb. And so my definition of a friend is when I begin to describe Bruce Bowers, it makes me reflect on myself, and I find out that actually I'm almost speaking to myself in a sense, and that I tend to possess those same attributes. So when I look at Bruce, a person of high integrity, a person that you can trust, a person who can make things happen, a person who is committed to mastering the fundamentals of life. And he's done that in his career, and I've done that in mine. A person who is very professional, strives for perfection, and that's where we both are competitive. And Bruce possesses a lot of accountability. He takes full accountability for anything that he say he's going to do. And he's also a person that we've been able to communicate. So very good communication, open and honest communication, and you may not like everything that your friends say, but at least you have someone who will tell you the honest truth, and some people just tell you what you want to hear. And it reminds me of, as I was growing up, my mother, when I would ask her, I have a problem, and she always would lead off saying, well, Ted, do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or you want me to tell you what I really think? And of course, naturally, I would say, tell me what I want to hear, and she'd say, well, you know I'm not going to do that. Well, I said, why don't you quit asking me that then? But she would always tell you what she think. And so when you have somebody you know that's open and honest and really have your best interest at heart, you value that relationship. And the last thing about Bruce, we're working together now. And he, when you play sports, you learn the value of teamwork. And we're working very well now on teaming up to support you guys. And so that's Bruce, and
And
That's me.
Ted.
That's amazing. I think that's really deep because, you know, friendships, when you start to get older, it gets hard to keep those friendships. So my next question is going to be, clearly both of you are really positive about Lipscomb University. So has it always been that way? Have you ever felt like you needed to forgive Lipscomb? And if so, was that part of your journey?
Always been positive about Lipscomb. Lipscomb University has provided a platform for people to meet. A lot of people don't understand that not only do you come here just for your education, your Christian education, but there's a social part to attending a college or a university. If you're not taking the opportunity right now to mingle and meet someone who doesn't look like you, then you're missing out on a growth that you need, because our world, our society is diverse. You're not the only person here. There are other people who are in this society and other people that attend this university. Now, when I first attended, interesting things were happening at Lipscomb University. For example, we would play basketball games, and things have changed, and I like change. People used to say to me, there's only one person that likes change, and that's a wet baby. So I disagree with that to some degree because I like change too. But things have changed now, and they continue to change, and you are changing. If you miss out on that social piece, you're missing a valuable portion or part of your education. Your education is important. It's so important. Not only the book side of the education, but the mingling with people that you don't know. So when you walk down the sidewalk and you see people that don't look like you, speak. Try to have some conversation with them. The conversation needs to be there. Things have changed at Lipscomb. It's not the way it used to be. Many years ago, the Confederate flag used to fly through this McQuitty gym. Not Allen Arena, but it was the old McQuitty. Things have changed. A lot of you aren't aware that Belmont University was Belmont College back then. Their mascot was the Belmont Rebels. Now it's the Belmont Bruins. So see, things have changed. I like change. And if you're not able to change, you will be left behind. So things have changed. Are things perfect? I don't think anything's perfect. Are changes taking place here at this university? Yes, they are. Some wonderful changes.
Ted, do you want to add to that?
Yes, I really didn't leave here, angry. I understood when I came here that it was going to be different. There were going to be changes. There was going to be a need to adapt to another environment. So I made some very, very good friends. I don't think the university owes me anything. The university was very good to me. I mean, I attended here on a guaranteed full ride, including summers, and I took advantage of that. So when I played my last baseball game, I had my degree. In fact, I graduated right before we went to the World Series. So let me just talk about my journey. My journey has been ever since I left here, probably a few years after I graduated, of what David Lipscomb College really meant to me in terms of my journey. And it dawned on me that D was my destiny. I mean, it was meant for me to come to David Lipscomb. I was like days away from starting at Tennessee State University to play football, and so was Bruce. And so it was God's destiny that we would meet, because we would have been playing football at Tennessee State. And I was, literally days away when Coach Dugan saw me play in the summer, and I decided to come here. And so I've been a person, I always liked challenges, I always liked change. So that D told me my destiny was to come here. Everybody needs a platform, so that L is for legacy. So I've been building my legacy and writing my legacy ever since I came to Lipscomb, and held a few records and seen them all broken. made some great, great friends. Dr. Farrah Jean, just to name someone who's not African American, Dr. Farrah Jean, attended here, went on and got his master's, PhD, and he's a professor out at Pepperdine. He and I have the same kind of friendship that Bruce and I have. And then at Sea, I grew up in a United Methodist home. It was different, going to Bible class every day and chapel every day. But my life became, part of my journey has been working toward being Christ-centered, Christ-centric, and just constantly working on my relationship with God. I listen for God's voice, and I listen for God's footsteps.
So you guys have seen Lipscomb back then and Lipscomb now. So being on our campus now, like ever since you guys have been reconnecting with the students, what advice can you give to us so that we can grow together as a family? I know you kind of touched on that, but what else can you give? What can we take away today that can help us grow?
I think you should take away today the point that there are other people on this that are attending this university that are different than you. And there's a lot of diversity. I would like to see this university increase diversity and inclusion. And that's happening. It's happening now. Maybe not as fast as I'd like to see it happen, but it is happening. I think back, Ted mentioned some of the people that made a difference and great folk who I consider trailblazers. And of course, Coach Ken Dugan recruited both of us. I think of friends and folk who really made a difference in my life. Farrah Jean is one. Cooper Wood, been a friend forever and will always be a friend. And so wonderful people here, made some connections here. And you make those connections when you mingle with people and you have a conversation with people. You need to ask questions that you're not aware of or you don't have answers for. Many years ago, when Ted and I first attended, many of the students here had never gone to school or lived in a community with anyone who was black. That is not the same now. Maybe many of you have experienced that, or maybe you probably have not experienced that. But things are different. So I think, if anything, deal with the social aspect. Of course, you're going to work on your grades, because that's why you came to school. But you need to understand that when you mingle with people, you live with people, you go to the cafeteria and you sit down and eat with them. One thing that I always enjoyed was having conversations with other people about school. Male, female, black, white, whatever their race or ethnicity was, the conversation was there. So keep an open mind and keep conversation open.
He almost said everything I was going to say.
Really?
But the biggest takeaway to me would be don't be afraid of change. In fact, you should embrace change. And as I watch what those kids, those young high school students are going through now with the shooting and what they're doing, I think there's a message there in terms of facilitating change. I mean, these kids can't even vote, but they have pulled together and said, enough is enough. And so I always encourage people to embrace change, define goals, stay focused. You're here to get an education. But on the social side, what I found in my life is the education is a dual path. You got to get education and you got wisdom. How do you get wisdom? Wisdom is a set of experiences. And also I found when you value differences, I don't look at anybody as negative. I'm looking for, how are you different? Because God made all of us different. All of us got a God DNA. And that we are different and we are valued. God would not create anyone and say that they're not of value. And so I value the relationships and experiences I've had, and now I'm wise. Not only am I educated, but I'm a wise person, and start that process early. And the last comment I want to make, which is one of the questions I ask people, make sure you understand that people watch you. Your peers at school watch you. Younger kids watch you. I had an interesting experience when I moved back here because I had a career with AT&T and I traveled a lot. I'm now 67, and I had a guy who's probably about 55 that walked up to me and said, and they've named a tennis court after him in my town, Springfield. And he said, Ted, you know, when I was growing up, I admired you. I watched your career at Lipscomb, and I wanted to go to Lipscomb, but I wasn't good enough and ended up at Austin Peay. So that floored me that a person that's that much younger than me were watching me. He said, and what I liked about you is how you carried yourself. Well, I said, I can only thank my mother for that, but she did a good job raising me. But make sure that you are setting an example every day. Someone is watching you, and they're watching you for positive reasons, or they could be watching you to figure out what not to do. And that's the definition of wisdom to me, is studying what to do and not to do, and the sum of that makes you wise.
So, Bruce, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So, in 1972, you were a senior. You scored 52 points, not just once, but twice. Am I right?
That's correct.
Good memory.
Rumor has it that you can't score 52 points again.
And that's correct also.
Well, the Collegiate 100 boys are challenging you to a 3-on-3 tournament next month.
That means I'm going to have to try to get in shape. I accept the challenge.
They say you don't have the game anymore. Well, Ted and Bruce, thank you so much for sharing your story once again, and we hope that you can continue to pour your mentorship and support here on our campus. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank this group. We appreciate you.